Great morning, everybody.
Hey, great morning. Morning. Let's see here. Okay. Hey, Omi, good morning. Let's see here. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get this show on the road here. Those of you who are brand new, this is the Walk and Talk Wealth and Health Walkcast. This is what we do every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturday. And I'm the host, Samuel Bean here, and excited about having a conversation with you today, as we are every day. We talk about everything from health and wellness, weight loss, business, credit, personal lives, everything here. And here we also pour back into the community by sharing, asking questions that lead to good conversations, testimonials that you may be experiencing, you know, or just topics that you'd like to discuss if you want to get enlightened on. So today, keep on going, without one starting off with the fast. Hopefully you guys are, those who are participating, let us know so we can call you out in the chat. And if you're going one a day or the two a day, which one it is, we'd definitely love to hear from you guys and what you're experiencing and how you're attacking it this time. If you're attacking it with walking this time or exercising, let us know. And if you're getting better results or if you having more success, not eating the wrong things, let us know. Love to hear from you. But I'm 1 more pound down today, was yesterday, and just cool, real cool because doing it with my son. So I have my 14-year-old. He's at the gym, and this is probably um, crazy. We have been a lot of isolated quality time. You know how it is. You got two kids. He's the youngest, so he's always with his big brother, or he's always with his cousins, or he's always, with his friends. So uh, now that they have a 1 week break for the football camp, they go back on Monday. We've been together this whole entire week, working out every morning, and he's done a lot for him, his development, and some of his trainings and his working out regimen. But it's done a lot for us as well. So we're enjoying this time that we had together, which is something that again that you guys have enhanced for me by having the community, put me in a position where I'm always in an active state and always I ain't moving around. So that's let's start up all off this morning. Uh, yeah, 1 pound down and being able to go out here and enjoy this time with the family. So who's next? Who wants to go first?
Great morning, Mr. Bean. How's everybody?
Hey, some fantastic like one.
So this OMAD is I'm actually enjoying it this time. It's not about can't wait to get to the end. It's just about enjoying the process along the way. So yes, it's challenging because I'm a foodie. But I couple it with, some spiritual what's the word for lack of a better word? Some spiritual pruning, so to speak, so that I can kind of get down to the root of some things so that you don't go back to the old habits. Kind of helps to get down to the root of the thing. Um, so it's been very enlightening. I had a couple of wonderful conversations yesterday. And we ended up talking about how you receive your flowers. A lot of people get their flowers and you give people their uh you always want to thank people for what they do, and it kind of makes that person feel like you're making it about them. But I just always like to bring about the fact that when you're sowing seeds, loving on people, serving, and things like that, you should kind of expect your harvest to be, the gratitude and the thanks that you receive. So um, just kind of want to touch upon that because it kind of goes also into the question that I wanted to present to you, as you and Mrs. Bean serve the community and serve the people that you're in business with, or just serve the people that you're in relationship with. Um, how do you receive your flowers? So that's my question, sir. I'm gonna go back on mute.
Oh, that's easy. Gratitude, and gratitude is just seeing it on somebody's face, hearing it in somebody's spirit, or hearing somebody's testimonial. Uh, that's why I always talk about, the testimonials and reflections, that you guys have on a daily basis. That's the emotional compensation that, you know, pays off, for us. And when you look at coaching and mentorship, we service as well. But in service, you just want to know that people appreciate it. You don't want to feel like you've been taken for granted, right? But when you are, and then also when you're coaching and leading and mentoring, you want to know that people appreciate it. You don't want to be taken for granted. And how do you know that? It's because people are using the information that you're giving. Okay? So it's one thing for you to say, "Oh, well, Laura, that was a great training," and you don't turn around and do anything that she so suggested you do as your leader or as a leader of a company. So you should change that up and say, "You know what, Laura, that was a great speech. I love to hear you talk." You know, because when you look at the training aspect of it, the coaching and mentoring aspect of it, if it was a great training, you'd be motivated and inspired to go out there and do something, right? And so, change that up. So go out here and do something. And that's how you say thank you. That's how you say I appreciate it. You know what? That solved the problem for me. That solved the challenge for me. I did this, I lost this amount of weight, or I did this, and I'm healed, or I'm healthy for it, or I did this. Man, like Carla, extra card, credit score went up. JD, credit score went up with the extra card. So, you know, whatever it is, or you have people who just go out there and the advice that you give them, period, they take it. That's that's what leadership is looking for. All you want to know is that people appreciate the information enough to go out there and apply it and come back to it. Now, when you're in business, obviously, you're going to have that's part of the development process of you developing the field and developing your coaches and training your mentors. It's part of the process, but it's still a process that you want to know that people are growing from, that people are learning from, that people are building something special. So that's why it's always good that when you get information from somebody and you come back and report. JD is really good at coming back and reporting. You know, even though I don't, require it, nothing like that. He just does it based on who he is as a human being. I'm not gonna be like some people say, well, he's doing it because he's been trained to do that as a first sergeant in the U.S. military. He's disciplined. No, as a human being, if he don't want to do it, he don't have to do it. There's the human being in him that says, "Hey, look, I appreciate leadership and coaching, and I really want to give you your flowers on this situation or whatever it is." You know how JD is. JD's gonna give you flowers, but that's all that you need to know. That man, look, they are really taking this information. They're really applying this information. They're really using this information. So that's how you get that's how we feel rewarded and compensated for the things that we do. And the more and more you get from the masses, obviously, yeah, it rejuvenates you because when you go out here mentoring and coaching, there's not a whole lot that you can take to build off of outside of compensation and the gratitude that you get from people. So it's a thankless position, which is why people who master it make the most money because they can get through the emotions and all the long periods of time. Yeah, people just uh, working with you to learn and think. So yeah, that's how that works for us. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight on.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, it did.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Who's next?
Mr. Bean, go for it, JD. I'll come after you. Well, I just wanted to speak on community. If I could, I don't know if it's a question, statement, or whatever it is. You know, uh,
We'll figure it out.
we'll figure it out when we get there. To me, community is just as important as family, because I know an individual can't grow by themselves. They can't. It's impossible. So I would
Right.
like to talk about, would like somebody to talk about this community, right? We have a lot of folks that's in this community that don't know each other really. They really don't. I don't. Well, not say they don't. I don't. So what I try to do is get to know some of the folks in the community. Give them a call every now and then. Just like checking on, somebody sent me a message the other day, say, I'm checking on the old people when the heat came out. I said, wait a minute, you ain't checking on me because I ain't old. But yeah, like reaching out to folks and just having a conversation with them, not the people you know, but the people you don't know, right? I never had a conversation with Sekou, right? So that's my fault. I know he's in the group. I know how to reach him. I see him. I see him on WhatsApp and all these other things. I can reach out to him and say hello, good morning, and try to build a stronger community because everybody, you can't get everything. I can't get everything from Mr. Bean, right? I got to get it from somewhere else too. So that's all I wanted to speak about: the community and how to make the community stronger without a leader, right? So I'll go back on mute and let you speak on that, Mr. B.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely start on the end. You say how to make a community stronger without a leader. Well, everybody who commits to make the community stronger is a leader. Everybody
Yes.
who commits to make, who reaches out to somebody, that is leadership. Like this conversation is a leadership conversation that you just had. Quite honestly, uh, like so, you look at the group and when you have the top leader, if you got a top leader, it means that you have subordinate leaders. You have people who are in that leadership fray. And so, but like I said, in every group of leaders, there's the leader, right? So you have levels, leadership on all levels. When you make that, like I said, when you make that call, you reach out, shoot that text message, or after every one of these events, you go in and say one thing. It might inconvenience you rather time wise, whether you do it now or you do it later. But as long as it gets done, like you go in and say, hey, look, guys, you missed it. Go back and watch the recording. This is what I got out of it. Or this is one of the nuggets from the day. You know, if you get a chance to see the recording, watch it or hear the recording, watch it. XYZ talked about, or this nugget is what I got. That's leadership in itself. But you calling or you reaching out just saying, hey, how you doing? You're in a group. You know, heard what you said today. Great, great topic, a great reflection, a great testimonial. You know, that's a really good thing. And so one of these days when we actually get a chance, like we was in Vegas, we was all in Vegas, and we all got a chance to meet, some new people who came on board, but we all got a chance to connect. And a lot of you guys, who were already in the same company, when we went to Vegas, we all had a bigger bond. And so when we left Vegas, you know, that bond started to grow and it started to spin off into something special. When it came to this group, eventually would come to the foundation of people who are in this group. And so, but there was everybody connecting at that event, shaking hands, said, hey, I know you, I heard you, Saturday calls, and it's a pleasure to meet you, stuff like that. So you gotta build a community from within, and it takes everybody. And everybody who does it picks up that brick to build it, consider yourself a leader. But yeah, that's important. It does. It is. I appreciate that.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Yes, sir. Say cool.
Mr. Bean, I think I'll dovetail first into what JD was talking about around community. One of the key things that I was reading this morning was how to build a growth environment. And some of the things JD mentioned about um, led me to think we should talk about that a little bit. Are others, it's from John C. Maxwell, creating a growth environment. Others are growing. There's a willingness to change. Growth is modeled and expected. You're moving outside of your comfort zone by the activity. The atmosphere is affirming. Your focus is on moving forward, not backwards. You feel challenged in the environment that complacency won't kill your growth. and others are ahead of you in the process. So if you want to talk a little bit about creating a growth environment, and then the last thing I will talk about is respect, the law of respect, in that John C. Maxwell offered that the highest form of respect is other leaders following you. And John C. Maxwell offered a story where he was ministering to a member's family member, and he was in people pleasing mode. And he talked about the weather, he talked about sports, but he never talked about his faith. And that gentleman wound up dying, and he never shared his faith. And it became a seminal moment for him to realize as a leader that people pleasing is not our call. We are to speak the truth and to earn their respect as opposed to pleasing them. So either creating a growth environment or talking about respect is higher than people pleasing. I offer you the opportunity to expand upon. Thank you, Mr. Bean, for allowing me to share.
Appreciate it. And that first, I'll just touch on this one, but and then I'll go to the other one as well. But the growth environment, as when you look at the best leaders in the world, they have perpetual growth environments, right? They put things in play where, like that list, as a matter of fact, say, cool, if you can you put the name of the John C. Maxwell book in the group for me, please? And those bullet points, whatever chapter that book, those bullet points came out of, or if you had a screenshot of some of the bullet points, because that, guys, when you build a company, all right, especially when it's not a static situation where it's just you and your information sitting there programming, coding, stuff like that, right? Grading papers or whatever. Yeah, when you have a opportunity on your hands and you have a subscription based model or a affiliate based model or any type of sales force, that thing is not going to grow unless you create an environment that is conducive to grow. It's got to be designed to grow, right? And I was just talking to one of the owners, people who were flying me out on Friday for an event, and he was talking about people who are in his company, how they're making a lot of money, but they're making a lot of money without any system, basically, and no system of duplication, right? And so when you look at him, I told him, I said, well, first of all, that's a bad thing. So it's a good thing they're making money, but it's a bad thing that they don't know how. Yeah. And because if anything was to ever happen, whether they actually had to leave that company for any reason, those would be individuals who all they have is the stories. They don't have the skill, right? They can tell you how much money they made. They can tell you what type of lifestyle they used to have. They can tell you what kind of cars they used to drive, but they can't tell you how they got it. They can't tell you the system, and how to build a community, that was designed to grow and perpetuate itself and sustain itself and scale itself, right? And so that right there is a whole entire training in itself. But you literally, that could be a weekend course at a seminar that people would pay, gladly pay, to attend, right? Turn that into a masterclass right there. But yeah, you want to be able to design growth, scale growth, and predict growth. But those little dynamics that Sekou mentioned, those all have to be present in order for it to become a machine, which is what you're looking for. You want to be able to hit the button and walk away from it, and it now produce and grow on its own, right? So, well, that's very, very important. And then, like I said, a lot of respect. It's really important over people pleasing. Uh, and when you look at the individual and just like as an entity, and at its core, from the day you were born and you realize what attention was, you cried for it, right? And so you didn't actually stop crying until you got the attention. Okay. Me and what we do is we go to work, we do our thing, Companies, we buy these things, to get attention from women. Women put makeup, their workout, they got their one of their a starter kit on with the spandex and the tennis shoes they walk around in all day long. So you, it's like you want the attention, right? And so, when it comes to you handling people and dealing with people, you know, you treat them like that, and because that's what you want. You want attention. You want to be celebrated. You want to be, you want people to pay attention to you and like you. Okay? You want to please them, so in return, please you. Well, when it comes to leadership says, you know what, say cool. When we sat down and we did your game plan session, you said you want to make 10,000 a month. Okay. And my goal is to, at this point in time, if he's not on track, it's not for him to like me, it's just to get him back on track. And if I'm talking to him as his friend or someone that I'm looking for his acceptance, and then I'm going to fail him and he'll never make the $10,000, a month. Okay. Is it possible? Yeah. In certain situations, because it's the dynamics, but is it probable? No. So if I tell him what he needs to know, and we had this conversation, and it's a direct conversation, not rude, it's not disrespectful, but it's direct. I have his attention. He's gonna know right now this guy cares about me. He cares more about me and my goal of making $10,000 a month and firing my boss than he does about my feelings and how I feel towards him. And now he'll have more respect for me when we have these conversations. Okay. And so, and there's people on this call, who we've had. You heard Laura talk about that at one point in time, and Laura is here. She has our respect, and vice versa. And we love her. But there's something about having to go through an experience where you have to find out what somebody's love for you really is, and they show you. Now you look at them different, right? And so that's a difference on both sides of the table, though. There's a respect that we have for Laura based on how Laura, grew from the experience that we had, and there's respect from her on our stuff to us based on how we handle it and how we handled it with love and how we handle it with leadership, so she can grow from it. And that's what builds. You talk about that interwoven foundation that some people can't see, and it becomes the secret sauce. What is it about them? What is it about that group? What is it about that team? What is it about those individuals? As an organization, they just different. Right? They just different. Well, it starts with that respect part. Getting in as leader. Giving everybody to play, but you also running the play and not just cracking the whip. You running the play just like them, figuring out who you can run with, identify those individuals, grow the group, okay, and make necessary corrections on the fly, have all those necessary conversations on the fly, because when you're developing a group and building an organization, I said you're only strong as your weakest link, you're only fast as the slowest person. All right. So you want to make sure you have these direct conversations. I call them hard conversations for most people because most people don't know how to have them. Most people don't want to have them because it makes them uncomfortable and prefer not to have them because they don't want somebody to dislike them. Okay. And I'll stop right here and I'll tell you this. If you ever in business with me, you'll know one thing. I'd rather you not like me, right? Whether you not like me, and you make a fortune, small fortune that you came in to make because you came in as a business partner with business intentions, right? I'd rather you not like me and you go out here and make 7 figures. Not like me, go out here and fire your boss. I like me and learn so much that you never have to worry about, medication again or whatever it is. Then you like me and be broke, or you like me and be unhealthy. You like me and you lose your house, or you like me and whatever it is, you get the worst because You know, I was more worried about you liking me than you actually getting the result that you came for. Yeah, that's what it's about. Me doing what's best for you and your family. You know, even if you don't like me after we do it, you'll like me. That's what I found is this, guys. As long as you do it with respect, and it's in a coaching mentorship capacity when a person can see your intentions, they can see that this is what's best for them. That's all over with. You'll actually have the results for that individual, but you also have the relationship over time. That's what you want as a leader. So you end up getting both of them, but you got to put one before the other one. And a lot of times people will come in and they'll try to be your friend right away, or you'll try to be their friend right away. Well, when the last time you actually think about your friends growing up? Most of you think about your friends growing up. A lot of you would listen to your friends because you don't think your friends have common enough sense to make that type of money or make those type of decisions. You saw a lot of decisions that your friends make, coming up through school, college, military, as a young man, young woman, and some of y'all been to the club with some of your friends. Right? So when you make a friend, you put a friend in a category naturally, right? And unconsciously. So y'all connected. Y'all very familiar. And so it means that y'all pretty much on the same level, to a certain extent. So in order for you to move somebody, it's hard for you to move somebody and lead and develop and cultivate somebody who don't respect you as a mentor, but they love you as a friend. So I'd rather you come in, get what you came for, right? If you're still around here after you get it, yeah, then we can work on the relationship, you know, over time. But that's about when it comes to that Sekou, respect over, being liked. The goals, the people's goals always come before uh, you wanting them to like you. That's a personal desire, right? That's one of those things that we have to overcome as human beings. So appreciate you for those topics. Good stuff.
And
All
Mr.
right.
Bain, I'll make sure I add those bullet points to the group. It might be a little bit later this afternoon after I get
No
done with
problem.
work.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that book
you're
is
welcome. And
that's a really, really good book. Yeah, I definitely suggest each and every last one of you guys to get the audio version if you have and get it a nice quick listen to. It might be on YouTube. I think last month I listened to it was on YouTube. But uh if you can listen to it today, guys. Good stuff. All right, who's next?
Hey y'all,
Jason.
Jason here. Hey, how you doing, bro?
Jason, you sound like Marco Spoon here, in Houston, what I'm saying? Our midnight, the midnight DJ with that voice coming in there and chiming in there
Right.
like that.
Look, let me tell you, I have really been enjoying this. I'm in the background moving stuff today. It's a logistics day for us here, but
Mhm.
the information it is so spot on. And a matter of fact, I just had this conversation yesterday with a good friend, and the quandary was when you have a different level of information or truth that makes other people feel uncomfortable, possibly, do you default to coddling their feelings or do you give them the truth? And so we had a pretty good discussion because, on one hand, they were saying, well, they like to default to not making the person feel uncomfortable because it may be too much at that time. So, but then my question was, well, how do you know what a person can take? And if the default is always to go back to what status quo is, that's not going to move anybody anywhere. And then they're going
Right.
to have the same results, and they're not going to have the truth either. But if you can give them the truth, and it's not like you're going to beat them over the head with it, but you're going to give them the truth to the best of your level at that point. Look, I can give you the best that I've got, and I'm still growing, but at least I know that you can never say that I did not give you what could potentially level you up. And so that statement on that Sekou was talking about with John C. Maxwell, how here it is, he was so busy trying to do the popularity thing and not offend that a person left this earth without getting the information that could very well have been the difference between eternity in one place or another place.
Mhm.
And I was
Yep.
like, ooh, that's a hard lesson to learn. So
Mm.
I don't want to learn those kind of lessons. And so that was actually an answer to prayer that, you know, when you have the truth, your responsibility is not to sit there and pacify the person because it may hurt their feelings. It is to deliver that truth because the word says the truth shall make you free. So yeah, that was good. I needed to hear that. This was a great intersection this morning. Thank you.
Mhm. Yes, sir. And one of the other thing I was thinking about as you were speaking, just in the journey, there's two things. One, ask for permission, and two, ask a question. You know,
Right.
one. So when you are in a position where you're about to make somebody uncomfortable, and you know it's about to be an uncomfortable conversation, or it could have had the ability to be, the potential to have the uncomfortable conversation. I ask questions. So Jason, let me ask you this question, and that's kind of how I would start off.
Hmm.
When we sat down and we had a conversation, you said you wanted to build your company, this AI-based company. You said you wanted to make 25 grand a month. You said, and you told me these things, right?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. With the activity that you have right now, very, very
Hmm.
minimal. Is yielding a very small production. So we're way behind you know,
Hmm.
the goals and the time frame that you set. So if I knew you was doing something that was causing you to get fall further behind and something that may keep you from hitting your goal, would you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
And that question, when that person says yes, now that person is giving you the green light, not to be a jerk, not to be rude,
Hmm.
again, to go out here and not to be little Napoleon. So
Right.
no, go ahead. This is not your moment, right? This is
Right.
the moment for you to shine and be a leader and tell them exactly what they need to know, right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
they're giving you the green light to tell them the truth. They're giving you the
Yeah.
green light to tell them where am I messing up at? Where do you see my flaws, or what do you see, what I need to make corrections, right? And so I
Hmm.
ask for permission to give the person truth. That way,
Yeah.
they're prepared to receive it. And so those of you who
Absolutely.
have, those challenges with having those hard conversations, ask for permission. And when they give you permission, remember you're responsible for the care that comes with that conversation after that. All
Yeah.
right. So this is how you build up the trust. So now Jason says, yes, I sit down and I tell him everything that I see as a leader that can help him make the proper adjustments to get back on
Hmm.
track with the plan that we
Hmm.
had. And when we finish, we can put our friendship hat back on, or we can whatever it is, our relationship hat back on, but it's gonna be on a little bit different now. Like, you know what, he's gonna have more
Right.
respect for me because the information I just gave him, is for him, that he sees it and I'm giving him what he needs. And so that respect is gonna be there. And I'm gonna just tell you, there's nothing like somebody liking you after they learn how to respect you first. It's a whole entirely different situation.
That part. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's where you build your greatest organization, where you build your greatest connections. When you earn somebody's respect and you show them that they can be liked or loved. So that's real big. But other thing is this, guys. Some of you guys are leaders, and you shrink yourself down to the other person's comfort, right? And so instead of you giving them an opportunity to grow and you missing the opportunity to help them stretch and be uncomfortable, you regress and you go backwards because now you feel like you got to shrink yourself down to their level where they're at emotionally, you know, too comfortable. Because at the end of the day, if a person is around you and you are a leader in your life at this level, uh, people should be a little uncomfortable around you. If that's the case, they should want to stretch. I used to tell my mentor all the time, when he come to my house, I was like, man, every time you walk through, the value of the house increased, right? I was always recording when they were talking, because I needed to know how to talk. I needed to know how these conversations are going to be. It's very young, being in 7 rooms, and I'm a six-figure guy, right? And so it's very complicated. 6 rooms, right? And 5 figure a month guy, or 4 month guy, right? That made me uncomfortable. Being those, but it's a good uncomfortable where me stretch. They never lowered those or shrunk, you know, uh, to make me comfortable. I broke IP. Now if they did that, they made shut. Matter of fact, the faster they ran, and first way, a lot of our shut, close it back, right? I just want to keep them in eyes, right? So you want to make sure that, when he got to $100,000 I was at least at $5,000, $10,000 a month. And when he got to $1 million a month, my goal was to get to $100,000 a month. Okay. So, okay. Maybe it's gonna call a break. Let me stop. Bowl around. So, but I said to say, don't shrink, to somebody else's uh, mental capacity, emotional capacity, do that. Increase that's what you it's still going in and out. I'll real quick. Here.
Bear with him one moment. He's going to switch phones.
Okay. About
Still breaking up, sir.
okay. You
guys can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
They can hear from here.
Okay.
Mr. Dean, has the portal followed you to your house?
Man, I'm telling you, it really has.
The violent opposition don't want us to get to the
All
word
right, bro.
Pastor Bean.
That part.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
much better.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay. Well, what I was, speaking on, before the portal took over, the portal. But it's about you again. Just don't shrink yourself, guys, to accommodate somebody else's shortcomings. Right, that's your moment to increase, the respect that a person has for you. That's the moment that you get a chance to stretch that individual. And when you do that, guys, that's what happens. You stretch. That means that you grow, right? So they're growing and you're growing at the same exact time. So, the person who teaches the most learns the most, right? But when you're having hard conversations and you're teaching people about the things that they really need to know, that they trust you and need you for, that's not always going to be a comfortable conversation. So always rise to the occasion so they can they can strive to catch up with you, and sometimes I even surpass you. I've had people, I tell them all the time, look, my goal is not to put a lid on you and your production. My goal is not to put you in a position where you're always beneath me or making less money than me. My goal is to have you do the exact opposite, right? And so I need you to do so much and do so well that, I can only coach you at some point in time. You have to go find leadership because you're growing so fast, so I'm making so much, and I can't get you to the next level based on the capacity of where I'm at. Okay? But stretch people, don't accommodate people's emotions. They accommodate their goals and their dreams. So appreciate that, Sekou, and appreciate that, Jason, for adding on to that conversation. Very, very impactful.
Hey, Mr. Bean, this is Laura. I
Hey,
have a
Laura.
quick question. Hi, good morning, everyone. I have a quick question that sort of, just sort of popped into my mind as you were speaking. And that is, what is your perspective on, like, as a leader, you have your success team, you have the people that you are leading and following. What is your thoughts on the individuals that are like flitting around, getting information from every source out there, everything that sounds good, um, because that's what they're attracted to. They're attracted to everything that sounds good, and so they may not necessarily stick with the guidance that you're giving them because they are, flitting from place to place, just listening to everything that sounds good. So, what are your thoughts on that? If you understand my question, sir.
I understand 100%. This is where the level of leadership, has to grow around people. The level of leadership may already be there, especially when you're dealing with brand new people, but they don't know you like that. To go out there and put the sufficient enough respect on your name and on your credibility, on your resume, to sit down and really just take 100% of everything you say to heart, and then go out there and look at everything, listen to everything, watch everything, as opposed to having you as a foundational piece. Okay, this is one of those things where it's really important that you build a resume right in front of those individuals. Like for you, remember when you were introduced to me, you saw us, indirectly, because we were in the same company, and then you knew we moved different, right? So when you came on board, there was a part of you that said, you know what, whatever they got, I want to catch it, and I want to listen. That was already predetermined. That was already, you already had an opportunity to see it from the outside looking in. Then when you got inside, there was a whole other level. But there's a lot of people who are going to come to you, and until they see you go out here and duplicate yourself through other people, create some results in a resume of helping other people earn money, recruit people, sell products, stuff like that. What they're going to do is they're going to stop the internet, all right? And they're going to go out there and look for profile statements and stuff like that. So, because human beings are in the business of entertaining, they're not in the business of making money, okay? And this is an emotional situation. This is a thing where you have other people who are emotionally distracted, mentally distracted as well, right? They're chasing that dopamine hit of, oh my God, you hear what Jason says? I can't wait to hear what Jason says tomorrow. Well, it's a dopamine hit that they're looking for, looking to be entertained, they're looking to get that profound state. But you know, when you look at individuals, how many individuals come back and do what has been coached and being said? So the information is good, it's working for somebody else, right? It's not working for them because they're not applying it. So what you have to do, again, go back to that. If I see you as an individual who you just want to be entertained, and you're going from back and going to every source out there, you're not considering this source. What I need to do is I'll find, let's say, call you or Dr. Felicia, and I'll work with them, help them in this boring system, this predictable system, this methodical system, this systematic system, right? And not just make it say predictable, but make sure it works. So you get those results, put those results in the group, show everybody how the certain individuals are actually following the system, and that's what I highlight. I highlight people who are coachable, teachable, and trainable. I highlight people who are system individuals. I highlight people who are, the people who contribute to the fact that the system works if you follow it. Those are the individuals. I've done that for ages. That's all I ever do, because it's you have to teach people how to treat you and how to respect the information you give them. You can teach them also that it's safe to sit here and take the information you're giving them because it works. And so you have a lot of people who teach from theory who's never really done it, and all they've done was master regurgitating information that they heard from the stage or from a podcast or something like that. But you can tell that they've never really did anything, in the arena, expose themselves. Okay? So those individuals, they never had the followers and growth of the because again, they never went out and done it, and people can smell it and sniff it out. So when you look at that part, I definitely was this. Let them do what they're gonna do. Let human beings be who human beings gonna be. You control the one thing that you can control. And this is to everybody, which is you helping somebody get started, helping somebody make money, helping somebody, purchase the products or get sales or build a whatever it is, get the results that they need on AI, get the results in trading, get the results they need in business, weight loss, weight management, whatever it is. You help people do that, and then you both go run and tell it. Right? You both post it, you both do the thing. I like them, recognize them for doing it, and all of a sudden, the market or the group will come back to you. People who they liked you, but they didn't really know if you knew what you were doing, if your system worked or not. They come back to you. They start paying more attention to you, and then at that time, when you start working with them, you give them an opportunity to work with you, but not at the same level of access that they had the first time. Okay. At first, again, you were offering it right away. Now it comes with stipulations because they had the time the first time, they know what to do with it, and they basically fumbled. So what you do, hey, look, go ahead and let's put a list together. Go ahead and show me everything that you're supposed to do. When we did the game plan session, okay, and get to this point, put some things in play, put some people on the phone, put some people in the group, whatever it is, and then I can come back and I can coach you, mentor you. I can come back and advise you on a regular basis and put you in a position where you can go ahead and move forward. Yeah. So don't just come back and let them come back and waste your time. You have a window of time when they do come back to go ahead and create some results with them, or you're gonna have the same situation, right away. So be on purpose when they come back. Just as on purpose as you were when you first gave them their marching orders initially.
Thank you for that, sir.
Yes,
Powerful.
ma'am. Awesome. Awesome. All right, good stuff. Who's next?
Hey, Mr. Bean. Good morning, sir. How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Yes, sir.
You're in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. We gonna be flying out today at 4. We head to Virginia. We got a couple family reunions coming up this Saturday and end of this month. So we'll be in Virginia for the rest of the month. So yes, sir. Keep us in prayer.
Yeah,
Uh,
must be nice. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and live your life in other areas of the world for any period of time. See, that's lifestyle. I'm trying to tell you. Learn something while you're here.
I'm working on it, sir. I'm working on it. And so I keep collecting these cans, man. I'm gonna make it one day.
I love it.
These cans and bottles, man. I'm doing. Yes, sir. But what I was thinking about was that what to ask you about is just risk. And a lot of things we do in life is it's a level of risk that we take. In business. Put some money on the line. Putting your time on the line for opportunity. Going places that you haven't been before, doing things that you haven't done before. Relationships getting relationships that that like you said, you haven't met before, you met them through somebody, and there's a risk in a lot of things, and in life, I've been a risk taker, not a big risk taker, but I'm a bigger risk taker than my wife. If you tell us to jump off the cliff, she gonna find out everything you need to do to get off the cliff. I'm gonna get a parachute, on the way down. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make it happen. But how I wanted to kind of ask you, being in different business ventures and just in life in general, how do you manage your risk as far as um when you jump into opportunity, not jump into opportunity, but evaluate opportunities, make life decisions for you and your family, even go places, maybe vacation you ain't went before. Just, because sometimes people don't want to take risks and they miss out on a lot of opportunities, but then you could move too quickly and then find yourself in a pickle. So just want to kind of get your mindset on how you look at risk and manage risk in different situations, sir. Turn it back over to you.
Well, first, when I don't take uneducated risk. I do as much research as possible. I don't over research myself. I get enough information, good information that I need, and then I make decisions to move forward. Everything else that wasn't required for me to make that decision, I'll figure out, like I said, a way for the most part if I have to make that decision right away. And I'll learn as I earn. We'll go out here, go out my discovery while I'm around it. All right. And that's again, a lot of times the best time and the best place to actually learn it while you're doing it. So before, as far as risk, if the gain outweigh the risk and the risk doesn't appear to be detrimental, long term, to your goals, and it's a really good situation for you. It just takes leadership to iron it out and figure it out. I'm running. Yeah, I'm running. And so my risk tolerance, is a lot higher than most people. And so when you go back to me being on bankruptcy, and being in bankruptcy, foreclosure, repossession, wife at 9 months pregnant, and only having $400 in the bank, for us to not just, it's what some people say, invest the $400, but have your wife go back to work for a little while, make enough money just so you can get started in the company, right? And then not be promised anything, guaranteed anything while you're building that company. And you get a chance to go out there and prove yourself on the run, on the fly. And guess what? If you win, guess what you get? To keep your house, your cars, your lifestyle, your wife is now less, and when she's having a child, when she's giving birth. But you get a chance, what you lose, though, is the exact opposite. So I've taken the ultimate risk in a lot of different cases. But this is the thing, Tim, also, the conditioning, it comes with money. There's a condition that comes with taking risks, right? When you actually go through a process, you take an educated risk, and it comes through for you. Now, your risk tolerance increases, right? But you also learn some things about yourself, when you took those risks. So you become better in the process all the way around,